So naman, now let's now move on to our next topic. It's all about we are only, I think, in the week 3, chapter 4, sensation and perception. Now, sabi dito, no, if you were standing in the midst of this state scene, you would be absorbing the processing numerous pieces of sensory input. May nakita kang piano, may nakita kang tumawid. Pag tumatawid ka, you're using your eyes. Ang ingay, no? You are touching something. May narinig ka naman, may naamoy kang baho ng sasakyan, no? And may nakita ka, and there's something, a sense. No, so lahat ng sense mo gumagana dito. Now, the objective or outline of this is the sensory versus perception. So, vision, audition, aesthetic sense, olfaction, gustation, continuous sensitivities, kinesthetic thesis. Okay? Introduction. Imagine standing in the street corner. You might be struck by the movement everywhere. No, ang daming makuan. So, by the sound of the street musician, melody or horn in the distance, by the smell, the exhaust fumes, and the food dissolved in the nearby, may vendor doon. So, ang daming nangyayaring sensory kuan. We rely on the sensory system to provide important informations about our surroundings. We use this information to successfully navigate and interact with our environment so that we find nourishment, seek shelter, maintain social relationship, and avoid potential dangers. We have here sensation versus perception. Ano yung sensation, kaibahan nila? Okay, di ba may mga ito na sense tayo. Sometimes nakikita natin na mas maliit ito, yung line dito, mas malaki dito. Pero actually, sometimes, not always sense, no, are synonymously the same with how we perceive it. Okay? Sensation, what does it mean to sense something? Sensory receptors are specialized neurons that respond to specific type of stimuli. O the one who sense, yan yung sensory something natin. Sensory, meron tayong sensory neurons, di ba? Sensation yan. When sensory information is detected by the sensory receptor, sensation has occurred. Okay? Perception refers to the way sensory information is organized, interpret. Yan na yun. Pag may nakita tayo at wala pa tayong interpretation dyan, we just in our sensation process. Pero pag may interpretation tayo dyan, maingay ito. Maganda yung pakinggan. We perceive na. So, iba po yun, I sense something. Iba po yung I sense something sa I perceive something. When you sense something, you just sense something without even organizing it or interpreting it. Or when we perceive something, not just we sense them, but we already interpreted something to it. Ano yung meaning, okay? Perception involves both bottom-up and top-bottom processing. We have our first sensation, our vision, or yung mga mata natin, visual system constructs a mental representation of the world around us. This contributes our ability to successfully navigate to the physical space. Nakikita natin yung space, interact important individuals, and the like. Okay, yung mga mata natin. Okay, our eyes take a sensory information that helps us to understand the world around us. So, ano yung anatomy of the eyes? Of course, here, the light waves are transmitted across the eye and enter the eye through pupil. So, ito yon, no, light waves, no, enter to the pupil. So, dito talaga nanggagaling first. The next part, the cornea is the transparent cabinet of the eye. It serves as barrier between the inner eye and the outside eye. So, yung cornea natin, ito yung parang barrier. Ito, barrier. No, it serves as a barrier from the inner and from the outer part. Okay, yung cornea natin. Okay? Pupil is the smallest opening of the eye through which light pass. Ito. Pupil. Ito yun. Parang maliit siya na something, may box, something. Anyways. And size of the pupil can change as a function of the light level that serves as emotional arousal. When light's levels low, the pupil will become dilated and expanded and to allow more light in the eyes. When light levels are high, pupil will constrict, become smaller. Para hindi masira, to reduce amount of the light to enters, para hindi masira yung mata natin. The pupil size is controlled by muscles that are connected to iris, which is colored portion of the eye. Ito yung iris. Back to part, nagkukuha ng color. We have here optic nerve, fovea, retina. Okay? The lens naman, after passing through the pupil, light crosses the lens. No? A curve. Ito yung lens natin. Saan yung lens? Ito lens. Okay? Or a curved transparent structure that serves us to provide additional focus. Okay, di ba yung mga lens ng camera para siya nag-focus talaga yung function niya. We have the fovea. No, with fovea, the small indentation in the back of the eye, dito ang part, yung red. Which part of the retina, the light sensitivity lining of the eye. Okay? And we have here what we call photoreceptor cells known as cones or light detecting cells. Cones are specialized types of photoreceptors that work best, meron ng con dito. Hindi pa sa next illustration pala. Cons are very sensitive to acute detail and provide tremendous spatial resolution. Okay? Yan yung parang sa camera lang, di ba? We have the rods are specialized receptor that work well in low light condition. Okay? And the hearing naman or our auditory, yung audition or auditory system converts pressure waves into meaningful sounds. Yung may naririnig tayo. Okay? So ito yon, ito yung concern natin, no? So the ear can separate into multiple sections. The outer ear includes the pinna. Ito the outer ear, the pinna, which is sensible part of the ear that protrudes our heads, the audital canal. May canal tayo dito, auditory canal. And the tympanic membrane of the eardrum. The middle ear contains 3 tiny bones known as ossicles. Na saan yung ossicles ito dito na part parang may bukog bones. The inner ear contains the semicircular canals which are involved in balance of the movement. So, meron tayong tinatawag sa boxing, guys, okay, in terms of balance of movement. Pag nasuntok yun sa tenga, automatic yan, no? Meron palang meron madana-knockdown yan kasi may balance kasi dito eh. Kaya pag nasuntok yung tenga mo, parang ting, parang may ganyan. Dito yan apart kasi pag nasuntok. Dito yan nagre-react. Dito sa kuan natin inner contains. And cochlea, the cochlea is fluid-filled snail, yung parang snail ito, cochlea siya. Parang snail shape that contains sensory receptor cells, hair cells and auditory system. Okay? Diyan yung nagtatravel yung sounds. And we have here the pitch, the basilar membrane in the thin strips tissue within the cochlea. Pitch perception or different frequencies of sounds waves are associated with differences in our perception, our speech, our pitch of those sounds. Low frequency sounds are lower pitch and higher frequency sounds are higher pitch. Okay? Temporal theory, our pitch perception asserts that frequency is coded by activity level of the sensory neuron. And we have here place theory, yung pitch or perception suggests that different portion of basilar membrane are sensitive to sounds. Anyway, now we have here hearing loss, no, pagkabingi, no? So, congenital deafness, yung pinanganak ka, you are born with that. And we have here conductive heariness because of age, ano yung mga ibang environmental effects. Kaya ito, ang ingay, no? Nakakasira yan. In other senses naman, we have chemical senses, taste, no, yung senses na nagre-react pag may chemicals like taste. May nakain tayo, smell, may naamoy tayong chemical, something that smell, no? Like that. And gustation, no? You have heard the sense elementary school that there are 4 basic group: taste, sweet, salty, and bitter. Researcher demonstrate, however, we have at least 6 grouping. We have the umami, at least our PIP. Umami is actually Japanese word translate to yummy. No? Okay, it is associated with the taste of monosodium glutamate, yung parang kind of like asin. We have taste buds, no? Are formed by grouping of taste. Receptors sila yung nag-receive ng taste. Ano yung nalalasahan mo? Okay? Yan, mga taste buds, okay? Now, taste buds are composed of a number of individual taste receptor cells that transmits information to nerves. Yung information yun, lasahan mo. This micrograph shows a close-up with the tongue surface. Okay? We have naman smell or olfactory olfactory receptors. Cells are located in mucous membrane at the top of the nose. Small, dito yon sa pangamoy natin. Okay, dito. Kaya nga may times, di ba, na masakit yung nangyayari pag umaamoy tayo. Small hair, extension from the, siya yung nagre-receive kasi, receptor kasi yan siya. Yung parang ito, receptor yan siya, kaya nakakaamoy tayo. Okay? And we have here the olfactory bulb, a bulb-like structure in the tip of the frontal, no? Ito, from bulb siya, di ba? Frontal lobe, where the olfactory nerves begins. Pinapasan yung ano yung naamoy mo and the like. And we have here naman a touch or thermoception and nociception. Okay? The number of receptors are distributed throughout the skin. Sense of touch yan, sa skin ha. To respond various touch-related stimuli. These receptors include Meniere's corpuscles, Pacinian corpuscles. Meissner corpuscles respond to the pressure in the lower. So ito na po yun, okay? Balikan, basahin mo natin yung function. Pacinian corpuscles detect transient pressure and high frequency vibration. Siya yung nakaka-detect niyan. And Merkel's this in the light pressure. So, light pressure, and Rupinis percussor detect stretch. Pag may mga stretch tayo, okay? And we have pain perception, of course, no? Dito tayo nakaka-sense, although it is on our skin, but it is that specific thing na nakasense tayo ng pain. Pain is an unpleasant experience that involves both physical and psychological components. Feeling pain is quite adaptive because it makes us aware of an injury, and it motivates us to remove ourselves from the cause of injury. In addition, pain also makes us less likely to suffer additional injury because we will be gentler with our injury, the body parts. So, meron tayong tinatawag dito, no, pain that signals some types of the tissue damage known as inflammatory pain. Okay? And in some situations, pain results from damage of neurons and other peripheral nervous systems. No, iba yung nangyayari sa brain talaga. As a result, pain signals that are sent to the brain gets exaggerated. This type of pain known as neuropathic, no, yung exaggerated pain. Okay, and of course, we have here, some individuals are born without ability to feel pain. Wow, manhid. This is burial genetic disorder known as congenital insensitivity to pain or congenital analgesia. Okay? And we have also here, no, the vestibular sense or the proprioception and kinesthesia. Parang sa tenga pa rin, no? The vestibular sense contributes to our ability to maintain balance. Ito na yun. Pag nasuntok yan dyan sa tenga, wala kagad yung balance mo. Shows the major sensory organs, utricle, saccule, and 3 semicircular canals of this system are located next to the cochlea. Medyo sa tenga siya malapit, no? Kaya sa boxing, may tinatawag tayo na pag nasuntok yan dyan, knockdown ka agad kasi nga yung balance mo na dyan, kinokontrol niya, okay? And of course, we have the gestalt perception of principles of perception, okay? Ano yung perception ng gestalt, no? So, the word gestalt literally means form or pattern, but it uses to reflect the idea as a whole, okay? So, ito yung perception ng gestalt. Gestalt principles, no? Figure-ground relationship. According to this principle, we tend to segment our vision into figure and ground. So, ito yun. Parang na-divide natin to. Dito para siyang base, at ito parang mukha. Yun yung nakikita natin. We segment. We divide. And of course, another gestalt principle for organizing sensory stimuli into meaningful perception of proximity. So, proximate siya. Even though may space dyan, alam natin na proximate siya, na number lang. Okay? Similarity naman, no? Katulad din yan dyan. Even though may space in dyan, we know that it is just similar in counts. No, ito, similarity siya. Even though hindi pares ng kulay, it is indeed similar. And of course, the continuity. May mga times, di ba, na principle of closure and closure. Alam natin na may mga times, example itong continuity, alam natin na kahit hindi na continue yung line, alam natin na parang circle to papatungo. So, continuity, pattern of perception, our ability to discriminate among different figures and shape occurs on the following principles described above. And the next, our perceptions are based on the perceptual hypothesis, educated guesses that we make while interpreting sensory information. So, sometimes kasi guys, careful tayo kasi ano yung nasi-sense natin, iba yung perceive natin. So, I believe at some point, no, hindi tayo mamatay sa maling akala at some point. Kasi nga, sometimes what we sense is different from what we perceive at some point. Okay?